Hey, everybody. My name is Bridget Riepl, and I am the founder of New Jersey Yoga Collective and the Viable Yoga Festival. I am thrilled to be here with my good friend and I'll humbly say favorite teacher, Vanessa Van Noy.
Thank you, Bridget.
Of all things yoga, vegan, charity, and humongous glasses. I saw her last night for the first time in those. No, I don't think they're that big because you get old.
No.
They're that awesome because you stay young.
Well, thank you.
And in case you're wondering why we're not in a yoga studio, we're in Vanessa's home away from home, I'll have to say at this point. Chill Cryotherapy in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. I love chill.
Yeah, can you tell me, I also am a huge fan, but I'm going to say that you're kind of like the OG of yoga and cryotherapy coming together. You're kind of the first person who, at least with me, was like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to try this. So why? Because I don't think we'd be sitting here right now if it wasn't for you giving me the like gentle nudge into a freezing cold box of smoky ice.
Well, circling back to I'm not 20.
You're not.
I'm not. Believe it or not, I'm not 20.
You might have a
Not
couple
anymore.
tattoos that are 20.
Yes, I do, actually. A couple on my back are actually older than 20. And I exercise a lot. I practice. I kickbox. I hike. I do a lot. And I just get tired and my body hurts often. I have many injuries, as people that come to my classes know, because I talk about them often, spinal and otherwise, and I'm always looking for something basically just to keep me out of pain. So when I heard about cryotherapy, it was, I follow the trends as far as like what athletes are doing, because on some level we are athletes. We use our bodies for work. So.
And the old school was like the dip in the ice bath.
Correct, which I did once, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
How long do you stay in there in an ice bath?
I just jumped in and out. Like, I was at a spa, and it was like kind of like one of those freezing cold baths and then hot bath back and forth type of thing.
So like a polar bear plunge.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And honestly, I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I was like, I can't. Like, I don't care what this is helping me with. I can't do this at all. But I heard about the benefits of, reducing inflammation and all this stuff about cryotherapy. And as it became more and more popular, I became more and more interested. And then places started to pop up around this area here in Monmouth County. And Paul reached out, and I was super interested, and I ran over and I tried it. I mean, what I loved about Chill specifically was their tank is a full body tank. So some places that have Chill, like, you look like you're standing in a soda can with your head popping out, kind of, which is great.
Wait, throwback to when I was 10 years old.
You're like
I
this.
was, in fact, a soda can for Halloween. I was a Coca-Cola can, and it was a can and my head and my feet.
So you know exactly
my grandma
what I'm
made
talking
it for
about.
me.
I need to see a picture of that at some point.
It
But-
was wonderful.
Yeah, but it's pretty much like that. Like, you're in a soda can like this, and your head is sticking out.
Or wait, have you ever seen what people wear to do the yoni steam bath? Where
No,
it's
I don't
like
even
the
know
little
what that
tent
is.
and your head's out and it steams your girl parts, your lady parts.
No, I've never even heard of that.
The horror on Vanessa's face, if you're not with us on Facebook Live right now, was very real, but it is a thing. Everyone can look it up.
What is this called? Yoni?
A yoni steam bath
Now, aren't the yoni the little eggs?
that you're supposed to be like Kegeling, allegedly.
This is a whole separate conversation.
Separate
We
conversation.
should probably circle back to that at some point.
We absolutely will.
Okay.
Let's get back. Okay. I'm focused. I'm back. I'm back.
Focus. Okay. So the other places, your head is sticking out, which was still great for the body, but there's so many benefits for your skin. So when you get in,
Well, and don't you
fully,
have certain like receptors on the back of
your
your
cold receptors are back
And
here
maybe
at the
you
base
know
of your
what?
skull.
Let's have Paul jump in, the owner of Chill Cryo, as we have this conversation, because he might pepper in some great details. But go ahead. You had been in other ones where you're Bridget as a soda can, age 10, Halloween.
Correct. Which was great. It was all great. But I appreciated the fact here that you could also get your face treated, So I just noticed, like, I also have allergies and stuff, so when I wake up in the morning, my eyes are puffy and my face is just kind of overall puffy, and this just, like, instantly takes the puff out. You just feel like $1 million head to toe. So I was hooked, and I've been hooked ever since. I come 1 or 2 days a week if I can. I'd come more if I lived down the street. I'd probably be here twice a day if I lived around the corner.
definitely.
So there it is.
No, we definitely.
Paul would be like, "Get out, Vanessa.
No,
I don't think so.
Anytime.
Get out."
No, the system that we have here is the Cryoscience Arctic, which chills your body with chilled air from your toes all the way up over your head. And in your head is where your cold receptors are, and it controls your body temperature. So you get a much higher cryotherapy effect from that. So the endorphin release is much higher because you're chilling the back of your head, and you get a better effect from that.
So what made you get into the cryo business?
The cryo game.
The cryo game. Yeah.
Well, it was 4 years ago actually, and it was at Julie's place in Westfield because I live in Westfield. And 4 years ago, I got into it because it was a new store in Westfield, and I wanted to try it out.
And Julie also owns, it's a Chill Cryo, so there's more than one Chill Cryo
That's
locally.
correct, yeah.
Cool.
So we have 3 of them in New Jersey, and so I live up in Westfield. My wife got me a gift certificate to go to try it out because she knows I'm into new and exciting things. And similar to what Vanessa was saying, I like to play golf, I like to exercise, and I was looking for a way to just recover quicker. And as soon as I went, I was able to do more with my time. Enjoyed working out, enjoyed the recovery benefits of it, and just got hooked on it. And here, 4 years later, I have my own place in Red Bank.
So for golf, it was like a big help?
Yes.
That's so interesting.
Well, what it is it allows you to recover faster from working out. So then you can be able to work out in the mornings and still be able to go and play golf in the evenings, and then also it allows you to stretch more, and stretching is a benefit for golf because you can
Stretching
get more
is a
flexible.
benefit for everything.
Yes, it is.
That's our
Now I will
that's
say
our
I'm
like
not the,
light pitch for taking yoga classes.
yeah. So I will say I'm not the most stretchable person around, as Vanessa knows, as she's witnessed herself. But it allows you to kind of push farther and keep improving and keep stretching.
That's funny. I assumed you slept in full lotus.
Oh, you
You can ask his wife. He sleeps with his foot behind his head.
Always.
No, I don't think I could do that. No.
We can get you there, Paul.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, for
Weekend at a
anyone who
time.
can't see the space, I know some of you are watching Facebook Live right now with us. If you're not, or if you've never been here, it really is a beautiful facility that you guys have created, and the machines you have here, from what I can see and tell, are totally state of the art. I mean, I've been in other facilities as well, and it seems kind of like crazy, scientific, way above my head. What's going on here?
Well, you're exactly.
I gotta be honest.
The way that
was a creative writing major.
The way that we run our business at Chill is number one is we want to have our clients have a superior experience is the best experience, and we talk about that every day with the team. And then number two is we want to have the best technology in the marketplace. So from the Arctic to the local units to the sculpting, everything is the best in the marketplace.
So what's the local, what's the sculpting, and what's the deal with sauna plus chill?
Okay, so we talked about the whole body. The second technology is a local cryotherapy, which is chill a cryotherapy just in specific parts,
Like a
whether it
spot
be on
treatment.
your elbow, whether it could be for cryofacials, it could be for injury recovery on a specific ankle or a tendon tear or something. You go into physical therapy and want to recover quicker.
Fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis on your feet.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, exactly. So we have that. So we have the local, and then we have sculpting technology, which we call Chill Sculpt and Chill Skin, which we use the Pagani T-Shock system for that, which is the base technology is cryolipolys, which is freezing of the fat. Okay, and you can freeze the fat within the particular treatment area, within the stomach or the legs, wherever you're kind of focusing on. And that is used commonly here. We have several clients that come in on a regular basis and have gotten incredible results from that. And then we have our infrared sauna, which many of our clients come in, anywhere from 20 minutes to 55 minutes, and that heats your body up internally. So it's an infrared sauna. It heats it up internally. You warm your body up, and then you go into the cryotherapy afterwards.
And you also have color therapy in there as well.
Yes, we have chromotherapy too, so if you have a specific area that you want to target, you can use the chromotherapy for that.
So why would someone want to do sauna? Because you were even saying that you're doing cold heat. Like, number one, which one should you do first? Number two, why?
Well, you should always do the sauna first, because you want your body to heat up, and then you want the sauna to cool you down. You don't want to do it in the opposite way, because then the sauna is actually, taking away the benefit of the cryotherapy. So if you do it in the opposite way, the sauna is heating you up. Your body isn't working to keep warm. Okay, and when your body is working to keep warm, that's when you burn the calories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's a benefit of the calorie burn. So there's
So is that the whole thing when people tell me, and before we started this podcast today, I told everyone that my mother had the inspiration from somewhere that if she did cryotherapy once, she would lose 6 pounds before my sister's wedding. So, like, is that where that thought process maybe came from, that there are opportunities, ways that you can burn calories?
Yes. Yeah, so there's three main benefits to whole body cryotherapy. One is, reduced chronic pain. 2 is reduced inflammation, and 3 is you can burn anywhere from 500 to 800 calories in a session as your body's fighting to stay warm.
So are you telling me I never have to work out again? I can just cryo every day.
Well, I would think cryo is a good complement to your wellness routine, is what it is, and it allows you to burn the extra calories. So if you're at a plateau where you're trying to lose weight and you're kind of at this one level and you can't break through it, cryotherapy is a great solution to kind of help you break through that. And then as a regular maintenance, if you're maintaining weight or wanting to go on a weight loss program, it's a great program for that.
Plus, if you're trying to, cut weight or whatever, and you're going to tend to be more active, and this will just help you recover quicker. So
Be able to stay active.
Right,
Yeah.
be able to
Yes,
stay active.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's just all about pain and skin. Right, it keeps me out of pain, and I think it's been helping my skin look even better. So
One thing I noticed with the facials for sure that I was told, and I can feel the difference, I tend to sometimes have like a 16-year-old girl's skin, especially once a month-ish, if you know what I mean. I feel so clean. Like that sensation, and I guess like bacteria being killed probably by the level of cold, the temperature reduction, however you would describe it. Like my skin has never felt so clean as when I'm done having that facial.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
As opposed to a facial sometimes at a spa where you walk out and I'm like, I just had 37 different creams
Moisturizers
rubbed
put
into
on
my
there.
skin. And you don't have that fresh like sensation. When you leave here, you're like, whew.
Yeah.
It's a really great, beautiful feeling. So what made you reach out to Vanessa? By way of example, I'm sure there's other people you reached out to when you first opened up your facility, but like, besides the fact that she's amazing, and I'm sure you like octopus tattoo, like whatever it is, what was it that made you be like, I want that girl to be the type of person who's going to be letting people know about our spot?
Well, what I wanted to do when we first started out is find clients in the area and influencers in the area that cryotherapy would help, and that really represent kind of the image that we want to have here. And Vanessa definitely has that. I mean, you have fantastic social media, and it's not just the pictures; it's also the writings that you do each time on each of the posts, where you really get deep with all the different situations and scenarios that you face every day. And I think that's the type of person that we're looking for, that we wanted to work with when we opened up the store. So it was a perfect match, and I think we've become very good friends over the last couple months, and have a lot of common friends now.
yes,
Which
we
is
do.
so awesome, because Vanessa, I'll say, really is a community leader. I feel lucky to say that she's teaching this year at the Bible Yoga Festival that's happening on October 27th in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and Chill Cryo is going to be there if you want to try out some of their mobile operations, which you can
Yes.
describe for us. So excited for that. They're also going to come to the Mala in Asbury Park, where Vanessa will be gracing the stage alongside with me and some of our other really awesome yoga buds in Monmouth County and beyond. And you're a huge supporter of Headstands for Hunger, which
Yes.
is a charity operation. I mean, you're a 501c3, but it's an event, and it's become so much more than just an event. And if you wanted to just give some info on Headstands and when it's happening this year, I think everyone wants to like mark their calendar, save the date. New Jersey Yoga Collective will be there in full force to support. And for anyone who knows Sadie and Patrick Riepl, they will be taking the stage to teach a portion of their first yoga class alongside their sidekick, Bridget Riepl.
Adorably. Yeah, so Headstands for Hunger started 7 years ago.
That's
Do you remember that, Ming?
insane.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, 7 years ago.
I think
Saw
Ming
pictures
was the
of it.
original headstand
Yeah.
in that Long Branch gym.
Yeah.
No, I think you were like the one person
Yeah,
in the
we-
picture that did like the first headstand.
Yeah, I'll have to send you that picture.
Rocked
There's, like,
it.
20 people against a wall.
Yeah.
Totally. It's basically just a community event. 7 years ago, I was, suggested to start, giving back to my community. I came to a point in my life where, my teaching had come to a point where I don't have to think about teaching so much. You know what I mean? Like,
Also, as a friend who knew you really well at that point, your teaching was getting to a point where you were like, excuse my language, but like, what the F is occurring around here? Everyone's splintering off into these super tiny segments, and there's a lot of competition and cutthroat attitude. And you were kind of
It still
questioning,
is.
like, what am I still doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
totally. Yeah.
As much as I love teaching triangle pose into half moon,
Right.
like, what's the messaging? What
Totally.
What
I mean-
where are we getting lost in just doing a bunch of poses?
We as a people are lost, but that's a bigger conversation, I think, to be had another podcast, perhaps. But
I think we almost had it last night about
there's a lot going on. But in the yoga community, even still, like, we talk the good talk. We sit on the cushion and we're like, peace and love each other and help each other, and then we walk out of the studio and we stab each other in the back and try to steal our students and all this other stuff, and it's like more people, more competition, more problems, and instead of coming together as a group to help not only each other, but help our communities, help our country, help our planet, we're doing the complete opposite. We're spending a lot of time and effort on me, staring at the phone, and how can I get more, how can I be more, how can I take away from you and get to me, and it's this whole, cell phone, Instagram.
Well, I can tell you,
thing,
I started teaching yoga 9 years ago. You've been teaching for almost 20 years. And I will say, when I did my training, when I was coming out as a teacher, the question was always like, what's your authentic voice? Now the question is, what's your brand?
Yeah.
Well, what's your brand?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Are you on brand? And I'm
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? Like,
was that
that's-
comment on
yeah,
brand? Was
but-
that post on brand? And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, what are you talking about?
and sometimes I get it because I do have a business, the New Jersey Yoga Collective, the Vibe Festival, like, and there are certain messaging points that I want to hit that are important to me. And Paul, I'm sure you experienced
do
that
I.
here.
Right. Of
But
course.
one of my favorite comments I've ever heard from a yoga teacher was Catherine Buddy, and she said that when she first came up as a teacher, she did have those feelings of kind of like fear that there's this new hot teacher and people are going to think he or she is cooler than me or more interesting than me. And she said one of her mentors said to her, as long as you have something authentic to offer that's coming from your heart,
You'll
you're
be
always
alright.
going to have an audience.
Yeah, you'll be all right. Yeah,
And there's always going to be a bigger pie
totally.
and more for people to like enjoy. But as soon as you get into this place of competition and cutting other people down, that's when the world starts to shrink.
Right, absolutely.
And we definitely, when you started Headstands for Hunger, we're in a state of severe shrinkage.
Yeah. Well, we still are. But, when I first started teaching here in Monmouth County, I think there was 2 or 3 yoga studios.
Yeah, most people were teaching in gym type environments.
Not
They're-
even. Like, not even. There was, like, yoga was not that pervasive as it is now. And you have Jersey Yoga Collective, so you know how many studios. Like, how many studios are in Monmouth County now?
50 plus.
50. So
I
in
want
the
to say it's about
past-
53
Yeah, so
right
in the
now, something like
past
that.
Decade, we've gone from 3 to 53, and we went from 100 practitioners, like I'm sure May can attest to this, 100 practitioners going around, enjoying each other and being friends, to a couple thousand that are pushing and pulling from each other instead. So, my initial and still my drive with Headstands is to give us a neutral place to commune as a group, as yoga practitioners, as instructors, as, people that are on the same page as far as, what can we do for each other, not just, what can I get out of this.
Right.
So, what I try to do every year is get as many teachers from around the community to come together that normally would not. Like there's many, yoga practitioners or teachers or studio heads that will not practice anywhere else. They won't go step into another studio. They're like, it's ridiculous, and bringing them together, we're in Convention Hall in Asbury Park, everybody comes together since it's not a studio. It's an open space, it's big and it's beautiful, and everybody can come together and at least play nice one day a year. It's like having a big extended family that doesn't get along. We have that one family reunion every year where everybody gets together and we're like, oh, yay, great. And then we, we can at least maybe try to step out of there for another year with made a little bit more clarity, So when you see someone, it's difficult to, not that it's difficult, but like if you're in the same business, like I'm in the business of yoga, you're in the business of yoga, it is what it is, If we're all in the same business trying to get through this life and trying to feed our dogs and pay our rent, there's going to be competition, and it's an unfortunate truth. It's just the way it is, So if there was a cryotherapy place across the street, like odds are you would not be friends. It's just the way it is. So even though you're both in wellness and you're both like care about people's well-being, odds are you wouldn't like each other because you're across the street in the same business. It's the same thing with yoga. So unfortunately, it's true. So I hope and I try every year to bring as much of us together in one space, and we collect food for the food bank and we collect food for the SPCA pet food pantry, so we can come together as a bigger group, a bigger community to help those that need our help.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, because my goal with the Bible Festival is similar, but more in the sense of like letting everybody come together for the education aspect, like that chance to like geek out on yoga for the day, take 4 classes, see these awesome teachers they wouldn't normally get to see, spend some serious time with them, learn something new, and also like realize how many people in our community, meaning like all of New Jersey into New York into Pennsylvania, are about more than just asana, about more than, and May said it before, like yoga butt, right? People that really want to understand the ins and outs of how to have a lifelong sustainable practice that expands beyond the very physical aspects that we get to practice. And then I think that brings in, having Chill Cryo there that day, where people start to think about wellness as more than just the 60 minutes you spend doing yoga or working out in one day. You're not just like shutting the book on your health after that class, that they can make an appointment at a place like this. And what I think is so cool about doing cryotherapy, there's nothing more time sensitive than this treatment, right? 3 minutes. Bye. It's amazing.
Every time I'm in there and I'm freezing, I'm like 3 minutes. I can stand on my head for 3 minutes. We're good. 3 minutes.
Now, I know Ming talked about the
minutes and I'll feel better.
possibility of
3
being
minutes.
able to podcast from the chill, but I don't know if it's possible.
How far is the chamber?
It's all the way in the back.
All the way in the back, yeah.
But I am going to hop into the chamber. Is chamber time available?
I think so, yeah.
And I want Julie to hop on this mic and continue the conversation while I go in there, because Julie is here with us from the Westfield Chill, and she is 4 years into this business, has worked with a ton of people, and we would love just some stories of people who have had like their lives changed by cryotherapy.
Julie,
So
why don't you
here,
sit? Do you wanna sit?
no, hop in here.
Okay.
I'm gonna put on the robe. I'll come back to let you guys see what it looks like prior to a chill treatment. So without further ado,
Before
and I'll be
and after.
I'll be back.
Uh-huh.
I'll be back. In the room.
I love it.
But yes, hop in there.
Thank you. Yeah, so just some of the stories that we've experienced over the past 4 years.
You wouldn't know that she's 80.
Yeah, exactly. I always say that. That's the miracle of cryo. I'm an octogenarian.
I'm 60.
Right, exactly. So just some of the things we've seen over the years. We are in the lucky position. We have like a really loyal client base. So some of our clients come every day. We have other people who come and go as needed. We see some people 6 times a year. We see some people every day. But we have a lot of loyal customer base. Some of the stories, some of the before and afters, we could talk about. I have a woman who came in. She had a just chronic migraine issue, and she had a migraine every day for the month of November, and it was debilitating. She could not go to work. She was a mother of 3. She was literally just spending her entire day and night in total pitch black darkness because she couldn't stand any kind of like light stimulation. So in the back of her head, she'd come in for cryofacials before, and in the back of her head, she remembered that I had said, oh gosh, well, migraines are inflammation, just try the whole body. So in a desperate act, she came in and did a single whole body cryotherapy, and the migraine went away. So she came back the next day, and she did another one, and the migraine stayed away. And she has not had a migraine since because she does the unlimited whole body cryotherapy. And she does take breaks every now and then, and she starts to inch back into headaches, and she just comes right back in. If she goes on vacation, she takes a break for 2 weeks, she comes back, but the migraines are no longer chronic and they're under control. So that to me is just beyond incredible and so life-changing. We've seen weight loss journeys. We have a bride who lost 17 pounds in a month just doing whole body cryotherapy. Didn't really partake in any diet or exercise adaptations whatsoever. And we just see, you know, people transform. I had one of my first clients came in. I think she probably has depression, anxiety, insomnia. And every day she would come in, she would be sort of like this. She would be hunched over. And within 15 seconds in the cryotherapy machine, she was fully erect and talking. I noticed that too, that we call it cryotherapy for a reason. Because a lot of therapy occurs in that machine, and it's not just physical. We see a lot of mental, cognitive, and emotional transformation as well. So helps with everything.
I think along the lines with that, Julie, is just the challenge of having your body stay cold for 3 minutes at minus 220 is you're telling your body what to do. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's the challenge, and people overcome that, and then they're better for it.
Well, they say that if you can do cryotherapy for 3 minutes, you can literally do anything the rest of the day.
Exactly.
I don't want people to be scared right now
Oh.
because you guys are like, if you could do this for 3 minutes,
Yeah,
you could do it.
exactly.
Right.
No,
Like
you're right.
it's
not that hard.
It's not really. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, if you've put like that ice challenge they were doing, that bucket ice
Yeah.
challenge that they were doing, is
It's
probably
much worse.
is worse
Oh, much
than,
worse.
than the cryo. Like you get in there, you know, there's always that joke like, oh, but it's a dry heat. Like here, it's like it's a dry cold. So since there's no moisture, like you don't really feel exceptionally frigid. It's not like a polar bear plunge where you're
Yeah.
jumping into cold water and it's so much of a shock
No,
to
you're
your
exactly
system. It's very kind of like, I call it like the sneaky cold, you
It
know,
is
because like you get in there and you're just like, I recognize that it's cold, but I'm not really uncomfortable.
It doesn't hurt. That's
No,
how I say it.
it's not painful.
Cold, but it's
Yeah,
not
like the polar bear
painful.
plunge is painful.
super painful. I don't want to do that ever.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
No,
Me neither.
absolutely.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
you've done that. Yeah, no.
You've done, yeah, he
He's
looks
done
like,
that.
he
I would
looks
never
like a
do
polar
that.
bear
Yeah,
plunge.
no.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I would not.
Yeah,
I've
no,
watched people do it,
absolutely.
and that's good enough for me. It's
No, I think that would
I think the other aspect, Julie, too, is the injury recovery. I mean, we have several clients that come in and, you know, maybe they've gotten surgery or a traumatic injury of some sort, and just the reduced inflammation in that injury area helps their recovery so much.
I just had a client come in, he did a video testimonial, and he had really significant rotator cuff surgery, and he had like a whole timeline about how his physical therapy was supposed to go, and he had cut it in half. And the doctors and his nurses and PTs were all amazed because he was doing just local on it, but it was so facilitating and accelerating his progress that he took like a 12-week recovery and shortened it to 6. And yeah, everyone was amazed. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great. I find the local cryotherapy is excellent for acute injury. So if you have
and that
like
barely feels cold at all.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, you know, I've gotten the facials and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I've done locals on my neck and stuff, and it feels like a cool breeze.
It's
like it's
super
not
stimulating.
like putting an ice pack.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
right,
like I said, it's like that sneaky cold. You're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I call it hyper cold, but in like really small doses.
But it's not uncomfortable. So
It's
that's the thing.
not.
It's not like
Yeah.
you know, people are like, oh my god, I couldn't do it. It's so cold. I'm like, no, it's really not.
It's better
not
than
uncomfortable.
English winter, I would say. Like
Yes.
just bone chilling and wet.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's not.
you just need tea.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's easier than that. And it's only 3 minutes. Winter's a lot longer.
Yeah, for sure. I
Absolutely.
love it, especially before I go to hot yoga, because I teach hot yoga a lot, and I sweat like a boy.
Yeah.
And I notice that if I come here right before, I sweat less.
Me Interesting.
So I'm a lot more comfortable in the hot room if I do this
Wow.
before.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I guess your base kind of temperature is
Yeah.
lower.
Yeah.
You've also boosted your metabolism. I find, because I do it before hot yoga occasionally, and I kill it. Like I am just like, I'm flexible. I have so much energy. I'm like planking and down dogging like crazy. And I'm just like, wow, it's the cryo. Like, it's amazing. Yeah, I like to do it like an hour or two beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I'm a beast after. Yeah, almost anything. People do use it for performance enhancement. So before a race or before, a lot of celebrities, Tony Robbins uses it right before he goes on stage. Because it pumps him up, it gives him a lot of clarity, and it, it gets rid of any kind of anxiety as well. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I would say that my best days on the golf course, and several of my friends might be listening, and the secret to winning in a tournament is to do cryotherapy.
Oh,
right
it's a
before.
secret weapon,
So,
100%.
it's very, it helps you flexible, helps you focus, and you perform your best.
Well, if you've noticed, a lot of professional athletes, it's becoming a little bit more mainstream now, but a lot of professional athletes would not talk about the fact that they did it, and they were trying to kind of protect their secret, I think. And now it's just like, I think the word is out, and a lot more are talking about it. But yes, athletes are doing it before and after. And I think it should be part of athletic
The
protocol.
original,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there was actually just a paper written about that, is that there's a study that's being released about doing it before and after athletic events. So major athletic events, doing it before and then within an hour after the event, so to help you perform best at the event and then recover for the next one.
Yeah, the way it helps you perform better is, I think, on a couple different levels. It just gets rid of that inflammation. So your stiffness is gone, your mobility is improved. I think there's a total mental component, and that's probably what you're experiencing with the hot yoga too. It just gives you a lot of focus. I find it makes me very optimistic. So like if I'm going in and have kind of a rough day, I'm busy, I'm a little bit stressed, I do that cryo and I can do anything after. I think it just clears all that stuff out. So I think there is a mental and a physical component. And also, if you're not in pain physically, you can do anything. Just open the door and run inside, because you're capable of anything. I feel after.
Now there's another one, and Julie, with your stories, one of the big comments that we get is I never slept so well.
Yes.
in my life
Yes.
After I've done cryotherapy, and we've had a couple clients come out and have stand right. It's all about the sleep, Paul. It's all about the sleep.
Yeah.
And if you can get a great night's sleep, then that helps you through the day too.
100%, especially with things like depression or anxiety. If you have a good night's sleep, like, you are just better armed for what's going to be thrown at you that day. And 100%. That's the thing we hear the most is that
It took me a long time to put on
the
that
insomnia
outfit.
here.
I did the brief.
She's
Oh, she did the.
that's fast.
I figured I would let you guys talk for a bit.
Yeah, let me give you your
How
seat
do I-
here.
No, I
Here,
wanna
you can,
actually do a little
Model. Yeah,
We can-
totally.
Should I hear me? Ready? Let's start again.
The socks make the outfit.
They do.
Where are
They tried to take the
clogs?
gloves
Yeah.
off,
Where are the
but I
clogs?
figured
Oh,
out-
the clogs are important. It's true.
Bridget, where are the clogs?
We need some silver clogs on you.
Clogs, where are the clogs?
I can get the clogs.
Because it puts the whole thing together. A little shine on the bottom.
So funny.
So that is standard dress code for cryotherapy.
She needs the clogs.
Yeah, but just to kind of circle back to a professional athlete who recently had a cryotherapy incident, if you protect your feet,
Here she goes.
your feet will not freeze.
Yeah.
So wear the socks and the clogs. You won't get away with that at Chill. Looking good.
Is there anyone who makes this look good?
I think
not
so.
me.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I
I
think
think
so,
you're doing a
yeah.
pretty good
Are you
job.
guys telling me you addressed the frostbite foot incident?
The Antonio
Well,
Brown,
they
yeah.
just- they just
Yeah,
brought that
I
up,
think
but
we're
they
gonna
didn't-
call that
they-
like Cryogate.
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 Yeah, that's right.
Right, yeah.
Head trauma gate.
Yeah, seriously.
It's a wardrobe malfunction, for
Yes.
sure. Yeah, he just was not wearing appropriate
concussion?
footwear.
He had a
Well,
concussion?
He's playing football. You're getting head
Oh,
trauma every
yeah,
single
yeah,
practice
true,
every
true.
single game.
Oh, you think he just forgot his footwear?
He got hit in the head too many times.
Right. I think we have another guest to bring on. Paul, do you want to stay, Julie, and then we'll
Sure.
Sure.
transition
Circle down.
up in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We have our in-house athlete to give a little feedback.
Nice. I need some LaCroix. Leaving? Be well.
All right, so go ahead, hop in. I'll transition over. Yeah, we don't need another wardrobe malfunction. But I'll just stay like this for the day. This feels right. All right, welcome
what's up?
to our newest guest. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Dylan. I work at Chill on Sundays, and then I pick up whatever other possible days I can. I also do massage therapy work. I used to personal train. I've trained in several different martial arts. A little Muay Thai, a little Jiu-Jitsu, very, very little. But so, yeah. And then I do cryotherapy. Typically when I work, sometimes I'll come in outside of that to do, but I try to like shock my system whichever way possible, whether it's heat shock, the cold shock I enjoy as well. So
What
kinda
made you get
questions.
involved in all of that? Like, where did it all come from? Were you an athlete growing up?
Yeah, so I have worked out pretty much forever. I played football when I was a kid, and then got into just any possible thing. So whether it's yoga, whether it's martial arts, and then I was into the sauna and a lot of the benefits from that. So we also have an infrared sauna here. But I was very interested in the heat shock, and then the cold was interesting. So I'd done like some cold plunges in like the water, which is a lot more painful. You can only really handle a certain amount, whereas the cryotherapy is 3 minutes, and it's much more tolerable, but it's also really good. I've had shoulder surgery. I've had like a pretty gnarly rotator cuff surgery a couple years back, and then I've also had some just like pulled muscles, and I'm pretty sore continuously, so I hop in there. And I do it for like mental benefits as well. So I do it just
Wow.
dealing with like I like I have a slight adrenaline addiction, so like it's a nice rush. You get the endorphin rush, and you also get like I'll sleep a little nicer afterwards, but I also just feel like for 3 minutes it's meditative because I'm in that extreme cold. You can't really focus on too much else while you're really cold. Like you can't think about the other issues that you might be dealing with in your life. So like it forces you to breathe, and you're just in there, the cold. And so for anxiety and just that mental clarity afterwards, it feels like you feel pretty chilled out, nice. So.
Wow, Julie, did you guys talk about that at all while I was gone? The mental benefits of this? I never even went there. I never thought about that.
It's true. My theory is, and it's actually the theory of several research endeavors, is that depression and anxiety are actually inflammation. So it's actually neuroinflammation. And that's why people who are depressed or have anxiety are so responsive to cryotherapy, because it actually does reduce neuroinflammation. Even if your head is not exposed to the cold. So at my location, I have a cryo sauna where the head is out the top. You're still getting the biochemical effects and the metabolic effects from just being exposed from the neck down, and they do get into your head. So definitely, inflammation, it's so funny because it really causes everything. It's the root cause of almost every disease. So
Well, I've heard that a lot about the different autoimmune diseases.
right.
That there's inflammation connected to a lot of it. I'm not an expert
Yes.
by any stretch, but just my
100% true.
super rudimentary understanding.
Yeah, no, you're right. So every autoimmune disease, they're all different, and there's like 60 or 7 different very specific conditions. But the overwhelming, the encompassing symptom is that they cause overwhelming inflammation. So with rheumatoid arthritis, it's the accumulation of inflammation in the joints, and that's
Okay.
why they get pain and stiffness and immobility, and they actually will get foci, which is just localized inflammation that can be about the size of a grapefruit on your wrist, and it's
Wow.
actually terrifying. Lupus is inflammation of the connective tissue.
Okay.
So every single autoimmune disorder has an inflammatory component. The great thing about cryo is that we cannot cure the disease. We cannot cause the body to stop creating that inflammation, but we can halt the symptoms. So we can get rid of the inflammation that's existing so you get your mobility back. with lupus, we can reduce the inflammation in the connective tissue, so you get your mobility back and the pain goes away. So whatever the autoimmune condition is, we can mitigate the symptoms so you have a better life.
So do you have a big autoimmune clientele?
We do. A third of our clients are people who are utilizing it for a disease process. So
Wow.
chronic pain. A third of our clients are there for aesthetics reasons. So we do a lot of weight loss, anti-aging. It's great for cellulite.
Can I ask a very female, totally superficial question? Botox, any aspect, benefit in that world as opposed to, like, I am a person who thinks Botox sounds really interesting and maybe something that could be great, but I'm not a needle person and I'm not like into what they're injecting, and I have a lot of questions around it. Like, are there things you guys can do that?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. We do the chill sculpting machine.
Sure.
Is also used on the face. It's
Okay.
a lot of different settings, so we're not getting rid of fat on your face. We want to preserve the fat in your face, but not on your neck. It tightens and tones the skin like I have never seen another non-invasive product do. It's incredible. So yeah, you can, like a lot of times people get sort of cavitation under the eyes and like the tear duct area. I have seen that completely disappear in people. Like it tightens and builds collagen like I've never seen. So I think it can over time be a substitute for injectables.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean Botox is very specific in the sense that it will paralyze, parts of your face so that you don't express and the wrinkles don't form. I don't think cryotherapy is going to be able to do that, but it will soften lines and build collagen for sure. I've seen it many times. And then we use it to tone and tighten the neck. So we'll use it underneath the chin where you get like a turkey neck or like a double chin. Those are different settings, and they will actually, get rid of the fat and simultaneously tighten the skin. The effects are incredible, honestly. Like, we have been floored by our before and afters. And photos are extremely important because people cannot see themselves. You cannot see yourself.
Absolutely.
You
And also, you
can't.
don't, in my experience, not even just like yourself, but people you spend a lot of time with. Like, I've had that moment really recently with my grandmother where I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, she's 20 years older.
Yeah.
Like, that you keep thinking that the person
Overnight.
is the person they were.
Yeah.
Like, my godson, he's 19. I still think he's 12.
Right.
Like, in my head, when I close my eyes right now, I'm like, oh, that's the person I see. And then I see him in person, I'm like, God, you grew up.
Yeah.
And we do it to ourselves too. We still
Right.
see this person that we saw at whatever kind of age made a huge impression, I think,
Yeah.
on us, like wherever we sort of got locked in.
Yeah.
And we do stop looking at ourselves too. There's a
Well,
whole
we can't be objective.
there's a whole world in yoga called like mirror work, about being able to like look at yourself in the
Eye
mirror
contact,
without the critical
yeah.
and without the judgment, and find self-love, and probably in that sense actually seeing what you look like maybe for the first time in years.
Yeah, for sure. No, photos are super important because most of our clients, like, they don't recognize, one, how beautiful they are, but then two, how much they change
Sure.
with the cryotherapy treatments that we do. So absolutely, like, yeah, and we're so hard on ourselves. Like, no one is as hard on you as you are. That's what I find too with the clients, is that they think they're, overweight, and they think that they're wrinkly, and, and they're not. And we just kind of almost help them just see that. We take a lot of photos.
That's awesome. It's so great that
Yeah.
you do that. And it sounds like your staff, the staff here, it's not really just people who are pushing a button.
No,
You guys seem to have
so
a lot of
true.
knowledge, like what you were just saying, the settings on the machines and being able to offer the treatments. And I know in Red Bank, probably with you guys as well, there's like a schedule set up when you can come in for certain things because you guys have specialists on hand that are offering different aspects of the sculpt, the skin, the full body, right?
The people we have in this, I mean, I'm sure in your location as well, but everyone pretty much has a background in some sort of athletic element or some sort of we all have anatomical understanding. So like, we're not just here like as like serving like the customers and like kind of running the computers and then running the machine. Like, we have to understand what's going on, and then it's not just for like, it's for the safety of the clients as well, but it's better if we understand like what's happening within the body, and then can explain that to clients. And then also, hopefully, it's something that most of the people working believe in, because I enjoy it as like a complement to everything else that I do. So like, I don't think I'm going off on like a segue, but I don't think you could do one thing and have like all the results you need. So like I don't believe in like yoga is the best thing for if you're exclusively looking to boost your cardiovascular health, but it's a good complement. It's a good complement to add cryotherapy in addition to like any sort of exercise that you do or any sort of workout routine to try to mitigate the inflammation, to try to just
Build
add,
muscle, change.
just in addition to anything. So nothing is like an end all be all, but it's an excellent complement, as well as the and I can't say enough good things about the sauna as well. That's my thing. Like if you like the heat,
Yeah,
the
it's
heat and the
good.
cold, and especially like the mental benefits we were talking about before, the mental and then the autoimmune. So as I said, I'm using a couple segues, but like if like particularly Lyme's disease, and that's an epidemic in the Northeast. Lyme's is a huge problem in this area, especially because like the winters are more mild, so we're not killing off the ticks the way that we used to. So Lyme spreads like crazy, and it's a really and the symptoms are extremely bad for a lot of people. So I've noticed that we have people that come here who have a lot of benefit with mitigating the inflammation and the neurological inflammation that comes along with Lyme's disease, and the cold does that, as well as they have benefit with the heat as well.
So true.
That's really interesting. I know 3 different people that I can think of immediately off the top of my head, one being my little sister who suffered with terrible Lyme cases with extremely different symptoms. One,
Manifestations, yeah.
really bad anxiety, another terrible exhaustion. My sister, they didn't realize what she had. She was only 8 or 9 years old, but gave her like a spinal tap because they thought she was having swelling on the brain because of the physical symptoms that she was having. So it is really interesting to think about the therapies that you're doing here, the heat and the cold, as a way to help with both. And I think definitely with the mental, just more of what you were saying, because I found myself, there was a time when I only did yoga, right? And I recognized at some point that my body and my mind needed different types of stimulation for me to keep receiving the same results.
Yeah.
I was getting to a place where yoga started to feel like autopilot, just like many other things in life. And I will say, when I'm in that cryo machine, meanwhile, I was listening to Taylor Swift, but I wasn't thinking about anything else, right? Like I was singing the song, I was like dancing a little bit, and my brain did not go anywhere else for 3 minutes. Like I wasn't thinking about having to go to the food store. I wasn't thinking about pickup times, drop off times.
Right.
There is a beauty to that sort of mental release. You know, in yoga, we always say like inhale, let, exhale, go. I for sure had 3 full minutes of that.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And people's lives are extremely comfortable now, which is a benefit of like the society that we've built. So we've built a culture where we don't necessarily have to go and hunt, and we don't have to till the land, and we don't have to do these extremely difficult things. So we
Right, we
actually
can just
have to
Uber eat.
We have to.
We can
Don't
Uber
have to
everything.
We have but we also have like anxiety and depression at epidemic levels, and I think an aspect of that is that we're not stimulating like that aspect of ourselves. So we have to seek ways to do it. So whether it's intense exercise or whether you get your adrenals squeezed when you're in the tank. So your body kind of your mind consciously knows that you're okay, but your body tricks itself into kind of going into shock. So the blood goes internal and your adrenals squeeze, and it sends like a massive endorphin rush. So you get that like your life is not actually difficult. You're not really doing anything extremely stressful, but it tricks your body into feeling that way. You get the release of pleasure chemicals, and a lot of our lives are too comfortable. We sit in like heated rooms. We don't have to do physical labor anymore. We can kind of work from a computer. So like people are physically and mentally more comfortable, but they're
bored.
Yeah,
We're
they're
bored.
They're bored.
Yeah.
We're bored.
Yeah, we've gotten soft.
We
Yeah.
totally. And you know what's
So-
cool? And in that, and like we are almost like iPad, like we're all living in these little almost shells.
Yeah.
And I love yoga because of the community building aspect. I love what you guys are doing here. Just if you were to scan around this room, like the community building aspect, like the fact that Julie drove down here from Westfield to hang out and be a part of what's happening in Red Bank.
Yeah.
The fact that you came in on your day off to be a part of this, like everybody who's behind the desk, like it's cool. This community is really interesting and it's special and it's based in wellness,
It's really
but it's
true.
also totally based in information
Yeah.
and research and wanting to up level
Yeah.
what it means to feel good, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not just like sitting on your couch and being like, okay, I feel good, I feel fine.
Right.
And I say it a lot of times in my yoga classes, and it comes from this really great life coachy type of writer, Danielle Laporte, if you've ever heard of her.
I have.
And she does this thing called desire mapping, and it's always like asking yourself, rather than what do you want to do, what do you want to achieve, how do you want to feel? And most people in our society, the answer is just like good,
Right.
good. But like go deeper than good. Like, do you want to
Generic,
feel
yeah.
awake? Do you want to feel alive? Do you want to feel engaged? Do you want to feel adventurous? Like, what are the words that describe how you want to feel? And I will say, like, some of these extreme moments, like you said, you're kind of like a thrill seeker, adventure seeker. You like that adrenaline rush. You are getting that here in a controlled atmosphere that you can feel really safe. So it is speaking to a desire that I think is very human.
Yeah.
And that maybe is why there's such a community around it already.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
and it's definitely something that's in the news that athletes are super into. It's exciting. Like, I think you guys are really on the forefront of something. And there's not a
Yeah.
ton in New Jersey right now, is there?
I mean, it's getting more popular. There's very few dedicated cryotherapy centers. So we are, I think, unique that way. There are a lot of gyms who will add a machine, and then as part of your membership, you can pop in for cryotherapy. It's a totally different kind of model, and I think a different experience when you come to a place like this where we are dedicated to, you know, cold temperature therapy. You're just going to get, you know, more educated staff. You're going to get a safer treatment, probably more effective, and better equipment.
Yeah.
Totally better equipment. But yeah, it is popping
And the
up in
staffing,
salons.
like the fact that you
Yeah.
were saying that people can change the settings, they can change the style of the treatment, they can target different areas. You're not going to get that
It's
if you just
true.
walk into a gym maybe and the person who works the desk to make sure you're being checked in for
Yeah.
your spin class is also checking you in for your cryotherapy, right? You're not getting that hands-on approach.
I try to sample cryotherapy wherever I go, and yeah, most of the time, like it's in a gym, and you walk in, they're like, "Oh, yeah, he's like leading a class right now, but he'll be available in 20 minutes to do your cryo," and I'm like, "Okay, that's different." Yeah, so definitely, you just get more customized, more knowledgeable staff and treatments and protocols for
How
sure.
do you guys stay up to date? Like, are there already conferences and clinics and especially, like, I know as a yoga teacher, you can go to something like I created Viable Yoga Festival for that purpose, where yoga teachers have an opportunity to come and learn from like the best of the best. Do
Yeah.
you guys have those kind of opportunities?
We do to some extent. It is still somewhat of a burgeoning, I think, technology. But yes, and I stay up to date with anything that's non-invasive and non-pharmaceutical. So we recently added acoustic sound wave therapy as well as the
That is so
cryotherapy.
cool.
It's so freaking cool. It is just so incredibly powerful as a new modality. We use
Well,
it.
and it's like the hottest thing in yoga right now is like the
Oh,
sound bath, sound
right.
wave, like yeah.
They're magic. Sound waves are magic. Like, if you, I don't know if you believe in God or nature or whatever it is, this is definitely like a beautiful, magical wave. It has the healing properties of nothing else that's like man-made. You know, it's something that's very, very easy to apply, but has deep, deep potential to help and cure and heal. So we use it musculoskeletally. We'll apply it. It's actually FDA approved for plantar fasciitis and other like tendonitis situations for the Achilles. Oh, and also it's for epicondylitis and tennis and golf elbow. It's FDA approved for. But we'll use it anywhere. We use it for neuromas on the feet. We can use it for any kind of tendonitis, bursitis, rotator cuff injury, lower back issues, and there's a couple different protocols that we'll use just based on, you know, the nature of the injury. And then we do also use it for erectile dysfunction, which
Nice.
is, yeah, I mean, that kind of came out of nowhere, but yeah, what it does is it stimulates your own stem cell production. So what else can do that, you know, aside from, I don't even know what youth, like, you know, reversing time.
Right.
So it's a micro trauma. So what it does is the sound waves create, and it's not painful. We do use analgesic cream if it is, but it creates micro trauma to either the musculoskeletal system or to penile tissue. And what ends up happening is it will recruit growth factors and stimulate new blood vessel growth. It also creates neurogenesis, which is new nerve growth, myogenesis, which is new tissue growth. So you can get brand new tissue, you can get more blood vessels, which increases blood flow, and you can get more sensation through the growth of new nerves. So I mean, there's like nothing else like it, and it's a 30 to 35 minute treatment, non-invasive, no drugs, and it's pretty reasonably priced too.
Yeah,
So-
we price it. So this is like a thing that it goes onto the skin. I
Right.
used it on my shoulder. So I had scars. I have I had an arthroscopic rotator cuff repair 2 years ago and so I just had I wanted to try it because
You had like calcifications and scar tissue.
so it's it's a little
yeah.
built up. I healed fairly well, but I have if you touch over the scars, as someone who has had surgery knows, it's almost like a bump.
Well, and I'm going to guess that you probably started doing physical stuff before they told you were allowed to.
I waited a little bit because I wanted to get back to martial arts because I couldn't throw a punch without worrying if my shoulder would dislocate prior to the surgery. So
Wow.
I wanted to actually heal and get
Nice.
back to, and now I am back to that. But the treatment for breaking up the scar tissue was nice because I felt like there was less crap built up underneath the scars when I after I did it. So, and my range of motion is okay. It's much better now, but definitely the sound wave treatment over the skin or for plantar fasciitis does work, and it's not super uncomfortable. You'll feel a little bit of almost like a pinch, but it's not. You can come on in. So, but
We do have appointments coming through the door as we podcast. Welcome.
So, but,
No, you're here for the podcast and cryo.
but yeah. So essentially, just to it's definitely worth a go if you're dealing with any sort of pain or any sort of scar tissue buildup or your motion's limited in either your shoulder, your foot, or whatever it is.
So what does it look like when someone comes in and they're like, hey, I'm dealing with X, what should I do? How do you guys handle a new client in a sense of hey, the sound, the this, the that? I don't work here, but if I did, I feel like I'd be regurgitating everything I knew about every single thing and be like, well, what do you want to do? Because we have 87, blah, 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 right?
No, it's
how do
true.
you guys know how to treat someone? What do you say when it's come once a week, twice a week, every day?
Yeah.
Just move in. We have cots. What do you say?
Right. I know
Right?
people would too. They would sleep here. That is the gift. So every single client who walks through the door literally just wants to be educated and told what to do. How do
And
I solve
pain-free.
my problem?
Pain-free,
How
right?
do you, how can this solve my problem? So that is that's our job. Basically, people start with cryo because cryo is such a panacea of, potential healing for most medical conditions and disease processes and, health objectives. So we generally start with cryo. We perceive their response. We look for their response. Are they responsive to it? Is it, treating their pain? Is it, reducing their inflammation? How do they feel?
And how long does it take before you can even answer those questions?
You
Once,
can
twice,
usually
three?
tell after one.
Really?
To be totally honest, yeah. Responders respond very quickly. If someone is going to have pain relief from it, we generally see it within the first 12 to 24 hours after cryo.
Okay.
You're probably going to know. And people, it's not for everyone. I'd say 5 to 7% of the people who come in, it's not for them. And that's okay. It's a great idea just to try it and then But I'd say 90% of the people do have a positive response to it. And then, some people are doing it just to enhance their performance, and then they can kind of, gauge how often they need it. But for people with, medical conditions and, things that we can actually create a protocol for, we can recommend, I think you'd be great on the unlimited. How often do you want to come? How often can you come? Where do you live? Where do you work? What is your, what's the convenience level for you? For those people, they can come every day, definitely get them in on the unlimited. And they'll see big improvements in their lives.
So you could come 7 days a week and there's not going to be there's certain things that people will be like, yeah, but you can't do it more than 3
Right.
times. You could do this 7 days a week?
Oh, yes.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I do it as much as I can. I do travel a lot, so I can't do it every day, but if I'm in town, I do it every single day.
Okay.
And that is just this need I have that it fulfills. It just unsquirrels me.
And are you on the highest level in there?
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm actually not. I don't go
I'm
that
an intermediate.
cold. Yeah, I'm probably intermediate. I'm about negative 140 Celsius. And I only do 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That is my point. That's where I equilibrate. I could do 3, but I choose not to. It's best for me at 2:40.
How did you figure that out?
I don't know. I just kind of like got to it. Like I've been doing it for 4 years every day. So yeah, I just figured it out that this is where I'm happiest.
And
like,
what's your
around
workout?
2:40.
Like, what does your life look like?
Oh, I do yoga.
Where do you go?
So I'm in Westfield, New Jersey. So I go to Home Power Yoga in Cranford.
Liz Snyder.
Yes. Oh my God, they're
She's
the best.
awesome.
They're the best. She has. Okay. Yes.
She's fantastic.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's a real deal.
I'm desperate to get her in for cryotherapy, but yes, no, they.
Liz, go.
Liz,
I'm gonna slide into your DMs.
Yes. Yeah. So I go to Home Power Yoga and they kick my ass.
Yeah, they do.
And but if I do cryo beforehand, oh my goodness, I can do it all. I think they've seen my improvement too. Like
It's awesome.
Yeah, as I've gone through. So I do that, and I do a little bit of cardio. I just need cardio. I do some strength training, like Pilates, yoga stuff.
Good.
But that's it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And then I'm a mom and business owner and.
So how old are your kids?
14 and 16.
And when could someone go to cryo for the first time? What's like that? Or like, let's say you have a kid who's a great soccer player.
Yeah.
Like, what age would you
lot of
say it's
those.
cool to do it?
So I think technically I have treated an 8-year-old. It is a height factor.
With more of like the spot treatments?
So we did a
Okay.
whole body on her because she's a very young person to have rheumatoid arthritis.
Wow.
So she comes and it really is helping her. It's a height issue with the cryosauna. So if you're tall enough on the blocks, we have blocks to put in, that you can be over the top, we will treat you. But I'd say like between 10 and 12 is generally when we get the young athletes coming in.
Okay.
Younger than that, they're indestructible. They're like so pliable.
But
and-
there's no
Yeah.
negatives.
Right, like it's not going to affect growth.
Okay.
It's not going to affect their development in any way.
Because you've heard all the things that they say, like when people get into certain athletic endeavors too young, it's not
Right.
healthy. That's what I was wondering.
Right, yeah, no, I'd say there really aren't any age contraindications. The only contraindications really are like pregnancy, uncontrolled high blood pressure, heart conditions.
Okay, so pregnancy is a no.
It's a no.
Gotcha.
And it's hard for some people because they really want it.
No, but
During
temperature
it.
and
wanna freeze
pregnancy
the
are
baby.
funky things because I have twins.
Oh.
And before I even knew I was pregnant,
You got
I
hot?
went to a hot yoga class and I started having heart palpitations. And I was like,
Wow.
what is happening? What is happening? Lo and behold, like 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. And
Wow.
I know women, very good friends of mine, who can be in a hot yoga room doing headstands until 9 months.
Right.
Like, they just have that tolerance.
Right.
But for me, temperature was an immediate
Indicator.
whoosh.
Yeah.
And had I probably known better, even like had I been pregnant before, maybe I would have known that early that I was
Yeah.
pregnant, which was crazy
Right.
because I was like, whoa. It was the weirdest feeling. Like I had never experienced that before in my life in a yoga room. So, all right, you would say people who are pregnant, it's a no.
It's a no.
But
Just
what about
we don't
say
wanna
they're having
risk it.
ankle issues? Could they do?
They could do a local.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
During pregnancy, I prefer not to do a cryofacial just because I don't want any nitrogen inhalation whatsoever. But absolutely, localized cryotherapy is 100% safe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Sauna's
definitely.
probably a no.
Yeah, I mean, Japanese women who are pregnant eat sushi, but we're not supposed to in the States. So if
French
you're-
women eat cheese.
Exactly, and wine. So yeah, I really think it's if you are accustomed to doing the sauna, if you do the sauna every day, and then you get pregnant, I think that's something you can probably work with your doctor and figure out if you can continue
Right,
to do
okay.
it. I think it's everything is negotiable based on where you're starting.
And then
Conditions
what
are.
other conditions do you guys?
So a pacemaker,
Okay.
any kind of seizure disorder. So seizures or fainting disorders like narcolepsy. We actually treated an undiagnosed narcoleptic, and she did faint in the chamber, and that's how we kind of figured out that it wasn't a good fit for people who have that kind of condition. So yeah.
that had to be the scariest day at work ever.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, but she was fine. It's just any kind of perturbation causes a narcoleptic to fall asleep.
Gotcha.
So any kind of like stimulation of any kind, like knocking her knee, she would faint. Like if she tripped on something and got scared, she would faint.
Wow.
So yeah, so the stimulation of very cold temperature had the same effect on her.
Now, do you see a lot of yogis coming in Westfield?
Yes, I mean, to a fair extent. We are also close to Brassy Buddha. It's right down the street.
I
We have-
love Brandy, who
Oh,
owns
you know
Brassy Buddha. Yeah, she's
Brandy.
amazing.
She really is great. So her mom comes every day.
She
So,
and
yeah.
her studio, her classes are phenomenal.
Tough. Yeah.
And she's so spiritual. Like, she has the
Super
most beautiful
spiritual.
talks. She's great. I've taken her class. I think
Oh,
she's
so
phenomenal.
You know everybody. I love that.
I grew up, well, my sister lives in Westfield, and I grew up in Union County.
Okay,
So I have,
definitely come visit me.
I have heart.
Yeah, no, it's a great community. I would love to get more with the yoga community to come try it. I think they're a little just nervous the first time because it is cold, and generally people don't like to be cold, especially people who do hot yoga. So, but once they try it, they do love it, and it is such a great compliment.
Well, I will happily connect you with
Thank
my
you,
friends
my
who
friend.
teach and
That's
do
wonderful.
yoga up there for sure.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's a great compliment.
Hell yeah.
Well, I feel like I've taken up a ton of your time, and we've seen like 30 clients come through the door while we're sitting here who have been like, why are you guys on microphones and headsets? Anyone else have anything to add in? Paul, will you come over here? Sure. Give us like little last bit of love. Anyone want to? Is there any cryo fantasticness that we've missed? I want to make sure I'm giving all the goods.
Just give it a shot. Just give it a
Well,
shot.
I think so. I think the other point that we didn't bring up is that another modality that we have here is IV therapy too, that we've added. So we have a whole list of various IV drips that we can do for clients that come in.
All right, tell me about this, because the only time I've ever heard about IV drips is from one of my friends who parties the most and has talked about doing that to like revive her life in Miami.
Well, so we talk about it. It's a hydration modality.
Okay.
So the hydration can come from exercising if you're doing marathons or large races and such like that, or NFL athletes in the area come for it. But
Really?
then also, oh yes, absolutely. And if you
I want to get my hands on that client list.
but if you are need to hydrate for other reasons, for hangovers and such like that, it is a great solution for that. So let's say if you want to get back to the party, if you party too much Friday night and want to go out Saturday night, or let's say if you partied Sunday night and you got to go to work on Monday, this is a good solution for you to come in and get hydrated. And we have various vitamins that go along with it to be able to help you recover and get back to what you need to do.
Now, what does that like process and procedure look like? Because I am a person who's afraid of needles. So what am I looking at?
So it's so we have a check-in process where we do the same kind of contraindications and check to see if there's anything that would prevent you from getting hydration or getting an IV. And then it's in one of our rooms. We have a relaxing recliner chair, and we have a nurse that will administer the protocol of.
Oh, so there's a nurse on staff to do the
correct.
IV.
Yeah, it's a separate team that runs that. Yeah. Mhm.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to have in order to do an injection or of any type like that, then you have to be trained in those techniques.
Oh, that's great. Okay. I mean, because I think that comes up for a lot of people, right? They're like, who's giving me the needle?
Yes.
So I think that's
it's a
super good for
trained
people
nurse
to
that
know.
has done hundreds and hundreds of injections. The team that we have here is very experienced in it. So, they're nurses in hospitals in the area, and they come and add additional hours here to do IVs.
We do B12 shots too. B12 and glutathione, like as opposed to just the IV, so it's not the drip, it's just an injection, just like.
And what would you want those shots for?
Vegans want B12 for the most part, I would
Okay.
say. If you're not consuming red meat, you're typically not getting enough B12. Even if you do consume red meat, a lot of people are still deficient in B12. It's something to find out from from blood work, but you can probably assume that if you don't consume meat, that you're going to be B vitamin deficient. That's like it's a good precursor to like healthy hormones and red blood cell production, things like that. So it's a good addition. I mean, the IV drips are a lot more extensive with a T, and they are that'll take up 30 minutes of your time, and it's gonna, if you're hydrating or if you're getting the vitamin drips, it's gonna be more in your system. Whereas the intramuscular injection is just like a brief, like quick little shot. You're in and out in a couple minutes, and and the glutathione, in addition to the B12, the glutathione's a powerful antioxidant, and you might not feel like the energy boost, whereas you would with B12, but you're getting you're getting anti-aging benefits from glutathione. You're you're getting a lot of like good detox. So another good addition to like if you drank too much or if you're whatever. And the in terms of the rehydration too, if you happen to be an athlete that you have to cut weight, if you're a wrestler or something, and or wrestlers usually weigh in on the day of, but if you're a wrestler or you're competing in something, if you're fortunate enough to weigh in the day prior, you can come back and rehydrate, because they don't, you're only not really allowed to do that at the professional levels, and they're not measuring that, so it's going to make you regain the weight and rehydrate a lot quicker. So it's definitely a consideration for people who have to cut weight for any sort of fight or competition, jiu-jitsu wise, wrestling wise, just as an addition to that.
Yeah. So that's really all the technology. So cryotherapy, the sculpting, the sauna.
I see you're
sound
rocking a
waves.
little CBD.
Yes, with CBD for life. We have the rub and the roll on, which are very good, and then we also have our resident expert here, Ming, who is our superior expert here in podcasting, and hopefully you've noticed, Ming, all the people walking by the door here. It would be great to have a shared universe right across the street there in the corner there. So I think that spot is available. So I figured I would, online here campaign for a business move for Ming to downtown Red Bank, right there across the street from us. So you could do podcast live, right? And you'd have a walk-by audience, so.
Pretty awesome. I mean, this location is really great. The amount of walking traffic in downtown Red Bank is phenomenal, and I know there's a great community of business owners that Paul's a part of. You do a ton of community outreach.
Yes, definitely. There's we wanted to be a part of the community with all the different events that go on, but also we're part of the Red Bank Business Alliance, which brings together really all the businesses in the main street here, Broad Street, but also all the surrounding areas. So if there's somebody that has interest in Red Bank, is physically in Red Bank, they can be part of the Red Bank Business Association and partake in all the different activities.
Well, I want to make an online push. It's one of my dreams to have like a Red Bank yoga party on I think we should shut down one of the side streets and have like an in the street yoga party in downtown Red Bank.
All right. Well, that's.
I know Westfield did it, and Montclair used to do it as well. And I went to Red Bank years ago, but I didn't know anybody who was on the higher up situation. And I think they were like, "Yeah, all right, we'll talk to you later."
Okay.
But I think it would be so cool on like White Street or Monmouth, and have like a yoga party in the street.
I think that's definitely something we can we can bring up into the Business Alliance. I think we do have several events throughout the year, and I think stringing together a theme with all the events and I think a wellness theme across all the different events is fantastic.
And there's so many people between juice bar situations that are happening here, Good Karma with the amazing vegan food, you guys, there's definitely a wellness community that will be psyched to get on board.
No, I agree, and I think that's a great idea. We'll put it on.
All right,
the
so
calendar.
you and I.
Yes. All right.
That's
let's
our next meeting.
Next event is
So-
how do we get that moving? All right, good. That's great. Yeah, and the town of Red Bank is a great spot. I mean, I think I've definitely been involved a lot with the community, but the community has been very open and accepting of me. With all the different organizations and businesses on the street here have been fantastic. So.
I think your relationship with two of New Jersey's most awesome towns is great, because Westfield and Red Bank are both fantastic places to be.
Yeah, no, they're great spots. So.
My other faves, I'll say, Montclair, Princeton.
Yeah. Well, we have
Hoboken.
We just had a store open in Montclair, so that's
Yes.
just within the last couple weeks, so it's brand new, and you never know where we'll end up next.
Do you see clients bopping from like Westfield to Montclair to Red Bank? Like, are you noticing?
There is a movement of clients,
Cool.
For vacation purposes,
Yeah.
or they might work in other areas and such. So we handle that, and people are welcome to go, and we just work to make sure that the clients have a great experience. So. Yeah.
Well, thank you for what you do. Thank you for having us here. Thanks for talking and sharing, and I think opening up a lot of eyes, not just to cryo, but to everything else that you have to offer, and really the benefits of creating a more natural health, holistic regimen for yourself, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think for every yogi who's listening, give it a try.
Absolutely.
You're going to love it. I am committing to once a week.
All right. Good.
But I will say that endorphin adrenaline is pretty cool.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a piece of it.
You absolutely come out of there and feel like $1 million. You're kind of proud of yourself too,
Yeah. No, you do. Yeah.
right?
Indeed.
All right, thank you
Thank
guys
you.
so
Yes,
much.
thank you very much.
Ming from A Shared Universe Podcasting Studio. For anyone who wants to have a podcast, try a podcast, head over there. You can book an hour, 2 hours with him. You can bring in friends, you can bring in experts, you can talk. He will make it very, very, very easy for you, as he has done for me on multiple occasions. And in Ming's humble opinion and mine, there's a reason for probably every person in the world to have a podcast or at least share what they know. We're all like an expert on something, right?
Right. Absolutely. Documenting the history or dying, I think it's very good. It's a lot of fun, and it's a tremendous experience to do a podcast. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it too.
I think there should be like maybe a monthly chill podcast.
You know, I have the beginning, chicken scratch of ideas, and, Ming, once I can get onto his
I think
schedule.
we should call it
you know,
Just Chill.
Just Chill.
Just Chill.
That's, I like.
What
Well,
do you
the
think, Ming?
name is the first thing, right? Just Chill, right? That's good. Yeah.
You
And
might be the first ever cryotherapy podcast.
I've done a little bit of research into it, and there is not one that posts regularly. So I think if you allow me to use that name, Just Chill, then we might have something started, Bridget.
It's yours. All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We
Thank
will
you very
talk
much,
soon.
Lisa. Thanks.